So I hope many of you thought about that question and you think about where your water is coming from. A lot of you probably answered that your water is coming from uphill, it's coming from mountains, it's coming from headwaters systems like Carl talked about from the Continental Divide near where you are. And here in Colorado, we have a variety of ways that we move water around because the water is coming from the mountains, but the people live out on the plains. We're farming out on the plains, and we have a wonderful variety of technologies that we use to move the water. We move the water through pipelines, we move the water through irrigation ditches, and most spectacularly, we move the water through tunnel systems. And just behind me here, at the head of Grand Lake, there's a tunnel that goes over 10 miles carrying the water here from Grand Lake over across underneath the Continental Divide to the city of Denver, where the people are drinking the water. Our drinking water where I live in Denver, the drinking water that I drink has been moved through this tunnel system underneath the Continental Divide, allowing us to drink fresh water in the Denver area. So one of the things that we need to think about is how we're moving the water. And wherever you are in your schools and your homes, there's been a tremendous amount of work that's gone into engineering the systems to move fresh, clean drinking water to your water faucet. When you turn on that water faucet, you should think about where does that water come from and how does it get to you. So I'm going to turn it over to Carl here, and he'll talk about how the mountain systems and the forests are providing you with some of your water.
The national forests manage a lot of the mountainous areas in the West, and that turns out to be an important part of the water picture because of what mountains do to weather. As as air masses and clouds approach mountains, they make the air lift up over the top, and as that air cools, it can't hold as much water, and it actually forces the water out of the clouds as rain or snow. Now, in much of the West, where in the winter that water falls as snow and it's stored in the mountains during the winter, and then slowly begins to melt out during snowmelt runoff, and runs downhill out of the mountains and runs through the forest. But it doesn't necessarily run over the forest floor. It runs through the forest floor, which is made up of soil, organic matter, litter, duff, other materials on the floor. And it's that forest floor kind of serves as a big sponge and filter. It soaks up the water, it holds it, it releases it slowly, and it actually cleans it on the way to the stream channel. It seems kind of odd that water running through soil would be cleaned, but that's really how it happens. As long as the water is moving slowly and the soil is staying in place. That system of the water being stored in the winter in the mountains as snow and then coming off as runoff during the spring and the summer is kind of an important part of how we use water. It kind of creates a natural reservoir. And we depend on that system for the water that we use, both the water that we drink, the water that we use for irrigation, the water we use to wash our clothes and brush our teeth and all of that. It's also important to recognize that there's an aquatic ecosystem out there that is equally dependent upon the water as we are. There are plants and animals and fish and bugs that all need the same sort of reliable and clean water supply that we do. And one of the things that the National Forest does is we try to make sure that there's enough water for both, that we provide water both for human uses as well as making sure that there's enough water left to maintain healthy aquatic ecosystems.